Welcome back to the Kingdom. It's your host, King, checking in. And today we have Candace Owens speaking on how she grew up listening to Jay-Z and Kanye West and how that influenced culture. So let's go ahead and get her take on it and dive into it.
I grew up listening to Jay-Z. I would say Jay-Z and Kanye probably had the biggest influence on me. And there's a lot in Jay-Z's music that I'm so grateful for because he made it clear on how to move in a business room, I would say.
Yeah.
So many of his lyrics talking about, you know, this is how I think about it when they want me to do their shows. Like, how are they benefiting off of me, my brand? He's thinking like a boss. But then he gets up on stage and him and his wife tell people to vote for Hillary Clinton. I know Jay-Z is smart enough to know that's wrong. I know he's smart enough to know that because I listened to the DNA of his music. So if you got out, why don't you tell other people how to get out? And that's when I lost respect for Jay-Z, and it is what made me gain more respect for Kanye because he is willing to say stuff that makes him unfavorable in Hollywood, where I think Jay-Z really cares about what Hollywood thinks about him. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Jay-Z, unbelievably talented, can't deny it. Beyonce, unbelievably talented, can't deny it. Kanye West, I would say a genius, can't deny it. Unfortunately, you stood on someone who is very up and down with what he says. Does that not, like, if I had a teammate that just kept going back and forth, it's kind of hard to like stand out. And like, let me give you an example. My mom and dad would come up to me and they'd be like, hey, if you're voting for Trump, don't talk about that. And I was like, damn, we got to a place where it's hard to even voice what you're voting for or what you're siding with.
Believe it or not.
And then I realized that my mom was trying to teach me a lesson. Be careful on who you stamp your name on.
For sure. Believe it or not, my mom did the exact same thing.
Because now how they act or how they portray themselves or any of that is going to reflect you. Because people are going to be like, well, you signed off on this man. So how do you sign off on a man who stands on a car and says, yo, Jesus is coming, you got to be about good things, all this stuff, but then I'm a sick fuck, I like a quick fuck the next day. You could see when Kanye has his eyes on Christ, and then you could see it when he's like, oh, I need to get these numbers up or stuff like that.
So I think the single most important thing that Kanye has told about himself publicly, which weighs into my mind when he makes music like that, is that he's addicted to pornography. He's talked about that. It's a huge societal ill. Like, it's not something that men normally talk about, like being addicted to pornography, being addicted to sex, talking about how he felt like he was introduced to pornography too early, right? And
yeah, so, even in his documentary that came out, I want to say within the last 3 years, maybe 2019, he was on his way to leaving from the studio, one or the other, going to or leaving from, and he had asked his mans to stop by what looked like a little corner store that had sold pornographic magazines and VHSs at that time, I think. But yeah, it's true. He's publicly admitted that.
So when, in my view, I think that is an addiction in the battle that lives with him, you know, and has come out in his music at certain times. I can't listen to that music. I do not listen to that music. I do not.
Doesn't that make it worse if you don't mind me asking?
No, but I'm very honest about the fact that I don't listen to pornographic lyrics.
No, not you. But like,
I can't listen to pornographic.
Come on, Candace, what are you doing?
And it's funny because it means that I've really raised my frequency because I can't hear it. It makes me cringe. I used to listen to it when I was young. It didn't impact me.
But now you woke up and you're like, I can hear the programming.
And I've realized how important it is, what you put into your ears. I quite literally cannot listen to that kind of music. It does something to my soul.
But anybody else going through this kind of awakening with music right now? Because I can't find myself to listen to anything without substance, like actual substance. I used to be able to listen in passing and not really give it to whatever. But now it's like I'm listening to it and I'm in the car with my kids. And as soon as I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm like, let me change this.
So my question is, now that you know that, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? You're young enough for me to ask that.
34.
34.
You can always ask me. I don't live by that rule. If I'm 65, I'll be like, I'm 65.
So you're 34 years old, but you seem to be like, from my POV of just me and you, but seems like if you learn it, I got it, move on. So how could you work alongside somebody who just said, hey, I'm addicted to pornography. It ruined my marriage.
That's brave.
But then he goes back to teaching kids to do that shit.
That's how addiction works. Right. So for
But
me,
it's different.
but I'm not.
It's
If I
different
was
you're sitting in
promoting,
the studio for hours.
no.
What I mean? That's
But listen,
like days of work.
This is a conversation you got to have with Kanye. I don't listen to that music. I don't promote that music. And if I'm standing next to Kanye for something that he is saying and being honest about, I am co-signing what he is saying and doing. So when he put on the MAGA hat, it was a very significant moment for Black America.
Huge.
You do not have to vote Democrat.
He lost a lot of fans.
He
doing that.
lost so many fans for saying that.
But he gained too, so that's good.
Right. And so that never been done. You never could have seen that. Rappers just know, even if they're saying it privately that they like Trump, they would have never, ever, ever said that and been honest about
That's
that
true.
until Kanye took all of the bullets for being like, you have another option, Black America. And I commend that bravery.
Got it.
Right. If I was sitting next to him or in that video, then you could talk to me about that.
Yeah.
Candace, do you accept? No, I don't like that kind of music at all.
So you're good at picking and choosing what?
Well, yeah, and not. I mean, do you know his music? The majority of his, like when we're talking about, you know, all the way from his early days
Dropout.
all through now. Like, yes, he has a lot of, especially on this recent album. There's one song that's really great, but I can't listen to it because the lyrics are too pornographic. For me personally, Carnival is just way too pornographic. People can take that if they want to, but on me, in terms of what I talk about on my platform, I'm not going to promote, you know, pornography. I tell people that what you put in your ears is what you will put in your heart.
Now, she touched on a lot here for sure. Well, they touched on a lot. And one of the main things that the host was trying to make a point of is you have Kanye, who's a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. But he didn't bring that up. I just brought that up. Anyhow, you have Kanye, who's kind of going back and forth with his beliefs publicly. You see him on one day praising God, the next day talking about pornography things, or pornographic things, I meant to say. And how can she stand by somebody like that? Somebody who's so wishy-washy. That's pretty much the point that he was trying to make the whole time. Meanwhile, Candace, she came through and she was like, look, bruh, I ain't with this man 24/7. I grew up on some of his music. You know, now that we older, he's saying things that align with my beliefs politically. And if that's the case, then I can rally behind it. I'm not responsible for what he does on a daily basis. And also, you know, as somebody who's a God-fearing man, I don't think that we should somehow automatically remove, or how do I say, we should demean or push away or cast away people whom are brave enough to at least admit their sins. You know what I'm saying? People can't do something like that. Hey, I'm addicted to pornography. You know what I mean? Like, that takes a lot of balls. No pun intended, but but for real, seriously, it does, man. But she just pretty much saying, look, I do not stand behind every decision that this man makes, every song that this man makes. However, yeah, man, if it's something that can push culture forward, Black America forward, then she's with it. She also went on to talk about Jay-Z, who is also somebody I honestly, her two favorite rappers artists are two of my top three favorite artists, and Kanye and Jay-Z is in the top three for sure. So it's interesting because she definitely had a valid point. When I listen to Jay-Z's music in the past, of course, you have ignorant music here and there, but a lot of substance, a lot of his bases was centered around being a boss and upping your mind, raising your frequencies, your vibrations, not being around the BS and, handling your biz. That was really him. And I even remember a song called Black Republicans, him and Nas did. But to then go on and say endorse Joe Biden when you know better, yeah, that's a valid point, my guy. The host went on to ask her further about her stance with today's music, in hip-hop culture, and she definitely made her point very clear.
How do you feel about your culture and what they do with music?
I think it's a part of it. It's a part, and I've talked about this on my show, who owns these record label companies? Who signs a Sexy Red? You can go out and you can get any artist in the world based on their talent. Why is it that when you come to Black America, you want to platform someone like Sexy Red, when it used to be you platform people like Lauryn Hill? This is intentional. This is intentional because, as Confucius said, a Chinese philosopher said that what is in your ears will eventually be what surrounds you, right? Music is very powerful.
I heard a saying that music doesn't need an invitation to your soul.
That's a great way of saying
into it.
Yeah, and
that's right.
You are who you hang out with, but if you're just listening to it all the time, and I always got confused. I could never have said it because I'm not black, but if I had an Assyrian culture, and all they did was make money off of belittling my people, I would not pay money for it. I'd be like, yo, what are you doing? You switch sides on us. Like, why would you make it out, quote, and then shit where you came from? Why don't you come grab us and like build us out? Do you ever get scared of speaking the way you speak?
No. I feel very comfortable speaking the way I speak because I'm Team God, right? So, yeah, if God has you, who can be against you? You know what I mean?
Amen.
And so, yeah, I am very confident in what I say.
Amen.
And I take, obviously, a beating from the artists who I believe, just like you said, have turned their back on Black America.
Have these modern artists today turned their back on Black America? I would like to argue, hell yeah, man. And it's not even completely everybody's fault. Let me explain why. Because of these label owners, like she said. You got people behind the scenes that's really controlling all this. You think it's not intentional that when it comes to our culture, it's always something about shaking your ass, stealing somebody, girl or man, or, doing whatever you want, bro, it's getting crazy. I'm serious. Think about it. Name one genre out today outside of modern hip hop and R&B that promotes as much sexually explicit material. Country? No. Pop? No. Folk? Nah. Rock? You can make a case here and there for some subgenres. But seriously, if you look at today's radio, it's vicious. I can barely even listen to it. I'm gonna keep it real. I'll be flipping channels. Honestly, I got a playlist of music that I've curated throughout the years, and I just kind of stick to that. I really don't even have a desire to listen to anything new. And that's bad. It's crazy though, man. People in the Black community do not like a voice like Candace Owens. They claim that she's been disrespectful with her comments throughout the years in regards to the Black community. And yeah, man, I just totally disagree. We're gonna digest this clip. She recently posted a photo with Joe Budden saying that they have an interview coming up, and Joe Budden is being grilled by his people as to why he would even sit down with her. They don't even know what she's gonna say. They just are upset that at the very least he sat down with her and had a conversation. They felt like it was disrespectful to the Black community. Crazy.
I just wanted to ask, bro, everybody up here dick riding, I ain't doing all that. You claim to be this empath and you show so much empathy and you have this moral compass to where you don't expose yourself to things that you don't want to see. I'm just wondering how, if you claim to have that and claim to be that, and you run around and let me not say run around because I ain't trying to disrespect you or nothing, but you go and sit with somebody like Candace Owens. I ain't here to talk about no politics. I know you don't give a fuck about that, but I assume that you give a fuck about Black death.
Huh? You just you kind of contradicted yourself. You said that that he doesn't care about whom he's sitting. He don't care about whether he agree or not with the person in terms of the information that they're relaying to him. But he's always open to it. You made that pretty clear. But then you said, how could he go on to interview Candace Owens? Like, what?
And when you sit with somebody who has continuously disrespected people who have died, what should I say? Not necessarily unlawfully or unwillingly, but died at the hands of things that weren't just, like Ahmaud Arbery, like a George Floyd, who she created a full documentary on, disrespecting him and his family.
How does she disrespect his family at all? She actually went to them and exposed how Black Lives Matter disrespected the family.
Empathy for the people that she has hurt. You feel me? Like, where's that side of your empathy?
I didn't talk about none of that shit.
Okay, but why not? So I don't understand. You don't want to debate. I ain't saying you got to debate none of that.
No, it's no debate.
Yeah,
I
no, I'm not
feel
telling you
how
have to debate her.
I feel how I feel about her and that topic. So there's no need to talk to you about that topic.
So you said that you wanted to get to know her. I would assume, say if it's me in that space, I would assume that you would sit down and want to get to know her viewpoints and why she thought of that if you have an opposing point. Am I correct? Is that not good
No,
potting?
that's incorrect. That
That's
that
not
is
correct.
that is incorrect. I don't view it like that.
And how do you view it? How do you view it then?
I just told you how I view it. You think what you want to think, not you, but
Of course.
her in this instance. I saw all of that shit that she had to say about George Floyd. I couldn't be more on the opposite side of that spectrum. So what do I have to talk about that with her about? I'm not
Okay.
going to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about that. That's not what my platform is for. I'm a little more responsible with the things that I produce. I would never produce that. I'm not there with Candace Owens to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm not here to bash nobody. I don't want to give somebody the impression that I'm somehow upset at them for having a different set of beliefs, even if they strongly feel like they don't like Candace Owens and they take her viewpoints and everything that she laid out, I think so clearly as somehow inaccurate. In my viewpoint, I feel like she was just presenting facts. I say, just look, man, just continue to dig into these topics more. I think that's the best way to go about it. I started liking people that I initially hated simply because I went to go look for information that I can use to prove why I disliked them. And I found out, I messed around and found out. Yeah. And then somebody pointed out, y'all mad at Joe Budden for having Candace Owens over for an interview, but not at black churches at all for allowing Joe Biden to use them for campaign speeches. Not to mention the fried chicken. Oh, you ain't black if you don't vote for him either.